All right. So now, please, Abraham Manuel Ali Guaywa, are you here?
Present teacher.
Hi, Ali. Ángeles Sherlyn Carlo Poma.
Present teacher.
Hi, Ángeles. Betsabe Vania Rivera Celaya.
Present teacher, good morning.
Good morning, Betsabe. Carla Daniela Trigo Segarra.
Present teacher.
Hi, Carla. Carlos Arturo Terán Claros. Cecilia Carrasco Ordóñez.
Present teacher.
Hi, Cecilia. Cristel Mollericona Pérez.
Present teacher, good morning.
Good morning, Cristel. Daniel Ernesto Pérez Andrade.
Present teacher.
Hi, Daniel. Estrella. Guamantixua Jennifer Estrella.
Present teacher, good morning.
Good morning, Estrella. Karen Copacondo Ramos. Laura Maciel Flores Huanca.
Present teacher, good morning.
Good morning, Laura. Liz Andrea Ramos Guarachi.
Present teacher, good morning.
Good morning, Liz. Marcela Felisa Jorge Esbilte.
Yes, teacher, good morning, I'm here.
Good morning. Ok, ¿alguien que haya llegado recién? Carlos Arturo. Karen Copacondo. All right, so let's continue with the topic. For today's class, we are going to talk about a new unit, Unit 7. So go to your student book, page 73. This unit is, we are going to talk about that we are going to explain a little bit some topics that we review in the past, like present perfect. No past perfect. Past perfect is other thing that we are not talking about now, okay? So now, in this unit, we are going to see and learn how we can express different actions that are unfinished actions but are continuing until now. It is related to what is the present perfect. Yes, it is, but what is the difference? The difference is that in present perfect, we were mostly focused on the situation that is being doing in that time. But in this case, with this kind grammar structure, we are going to learn how we can express, in this case, unfinished actions or actions that happened in a small time of the timeline. For example, in this case, I have been eaten apples. That means that it is not the only action that I will do during the day. Maybe I have more apples, so I can continue, in this case, eating apples. Second one, in order to express difference, in this case, actions that has some consequences in the future or in the present. So this topic is mostly related to that. So you're going to have a little bit be careful, okay? Give me a second. Okay, so now in this unit 7, it is driving around. We are going to have different topics talking about cars and other issues that it involves to this kind of vehicles. So now, the question I have for you in this case, in order we can get adapted to unit 7, is which of these vehicles would you like to have or drive? So start thinking meanwhile we are talking about each of them. Explain your reasons in this case. So now, how you can answer this question? Which of these vehicles would you like to have or drive? In this case, you can answer this question with this. I'd like a small compact car. It's hard to find or a parking space for a large car. So please, Carla.
Well, I would like to have a plug-in car.
Why?
Because, well, if I'm going to have a car, especially in this country, and with all these problems with the gasolina, I think I don't want to do a really long file just for gasolina, and I think that will be the main reason.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Carla. And that's right. With all the problems we have here in Bolivia, especially, it's kind of difficult. Thank you so much, Carla. What about the others? In this case, which kind of vehicles would you like to drive in this case? Or would you have in, I don't know, maybe a compact car, a convertible, a full-size sedan, a sport car, a pickup truck, a minivan, a sub, or a plug-in car. So in this case, do I have any other volunteer? Or no volunteers by the moment? Please, Marcela.
Yes, teacher. I would like to have a compact car because I'm not I'm not a tall person, so I think a compact car is enough for me.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Marcela. So, Marcela prefers a compact car. Excellent. Liz, what about you?
Teacher, in my case, I would like to drive a compact car, two small cars. For example, like the Suzuki brand, maybe. I like brand March, creo. Because I think it's easy to drive small cars para estacionarse, tal vez. Y no
Yes,
gastan
excellent.
gasolina, como decía Carla. Gastan menos
Yes,
gasolina.
that's right. Thank you so much, Liz, especially in our country because of the situation as well, and also according to our necessities. Maybe some of you that live near to your places you have to go, for example, near to work, near to a school, high school, university, it is more easier to drive one of them. Okay. Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing your opinion. So now let's listen carefully how it is pronounced each of these, and then some of you are going to repeat in order to practice pronunciation as well. Okay? So let's listen carefully, please.
A compact car. A full-size sedan. A convertible. A sports car. A pickup truck. A minivan. An SUV. A plug-in car.
Excellent. Then now, do I have anyone who would like to read all of this? A compact car, convertible, a full-size sedan, a sport car, a pickup truck, a minivan, an SUV, and a plug-in car. Carla, please.
Compact car, a, a full-size sedan, a convertible, a sports car, a pickup truck, a minivan, an SUV, and a plug-in car.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Carla. Betsabe?
A compact car, a convertible, a full-size sedan, a sport car, a pickup truck, a minivan, an SUV, a plug-in car.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Betsabe. Liz?
Okay, teacher. A compact car, a convertible, a full-size sedan, a sports car, a pickup truck, a minivan, an SUV, a plug-in car.
Excellent. Angeles?
A compact car, a convertible, a full-size sedan, a sports car, a pickup truck, a minivan, an SUV, and a plug-in car.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And Cristel, please.
A compact car, a convertible, a full-size sedan, a sport car, a pickup truck, a minivan, an SUV, a plug-in car.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Cristel. Perfect. So these are some, in this case, types of vehicles we are going to find. Okay, and what is important is we are going to see later. So now, talking about this, let's continue with this topic about driving around. Now, here we have some vocabulary that is very related to what is driving in this case, the dictionary. So just in case, in this case, we have a survey that is talking about dangerous driving habits. So in this case, it says, how many drivers where you live? Speed, tailgate. Here we have other ones. Talk on the phone, text while driving, wave through traffic, don't stop the red light, and don't signal when turning, pass is passing a non-pausing zone. So in this case, as you could see related with the picture, each of these it has its own characteristics. Some of them, of course, are not like in our country. In our country, maybe if the person is kind of dangerous, it's difficult that it's someone controlling that. It's so difficult, even though it's someone telling no one why you are driving. But nowadays, it's mostly common to see different people with the phone. So the control here is not so regulated. It needs more administration, maybe, but in other countries, yes, because not only because they have people who is in charge of that, it's also because they are recording. We are with cameras. We have different technological gadgets that help them to identify these kind of things that are not in this case, well, that people cannot do because it can make people's danger in these cases. Okay, so now these are dangerous driving habits, maybe because some people use or tend to go out from their houses very late, so they want to be early or be punctual in their works, school, etc. But they do these kind of things. That's not okay. But let's see about this survey. Of course, I hope some of you maybe know how to drive. If not, you can, well, maybe try to think on that, okay? So the question in this case, the first one, it says, how many drivers where you live speed in this case? Where you live in speed? None, a few, most, all. So what about according to your experience? Do you think it's very common in our context to see different people that drive in speed? Yes, no, a few, most, all of them. So, do I have any volunteer in this case? Carla, please.
I think a few, or maybe most.
Yes, excellent. Thank you so much, Carla. A few, not too much, depending also in the place they are going to. Thank you so much. What about in this case, the second one? It says, how many drivers where you live in tailgate? In tailgate. And this is one of the most common cases in which people start to be arguing. So in this case, how many drivers where you live in tailgate, according to our context? Hmm? None, a few, most, or all. So in this case, please, I will ask some of you in order to participate. What about in this case, Cristel? What do you think? Cristel?
None.
No of them? Excellent. Thank you so much. So, what about in this case, talking on the phone? This is kind of very common sometimes for people who drive. So, in this case, what do you think about this, Laura?
I think um, most people, because maybe this is a reason that there are accidents.
Yes, excellent. Most people actually. Before there were many accidents because of the phone, but nowadays I didn't listen too much that there were accidents, but it's very common to see people using their phones while they are driving. So it's something to talk about. Number four in this case, in which it says how many drivers where you live takes while driving. They are texting, no, not calling in this case. So for this, please, Daniel, what do you think?
Is no.
No, yes. Excellent. Thank you so much. Not too many in this case. It's kind of difficult. Many people use what is audio and other ones that maybe can be more easier for the peers. How many drivers where you live wave through traffic? In this case, wave through traffic. This not too common, I think, depending on the place, even though some streets are crowded of cars. So in these cases, it is impossible to do these kind of things. So for this, please, what about Estrella? Estrella, how many drivers where you live weave through traffic? My Estrella? Okay. So in this case, what about you, Abraham?
No, teacher.
No. Yes, sometimes it's difficult to see that. It's not too pretty common because of some things that happen. Number six, don't stop at red light. So in this case, what about this? Please, in your case, Liz, how many drivers where you live don't stop at red light?
Teacher, in my case, a few or none, maybe, because I where I live is on Avenue, una avenida concurrida o llena, ¿cómo
Okay,
diría?
so it's not a crowded street in this case. Avenue? It's not a crowded avenue?
Yes, Avenue.
Okay, so the thing in this case, the driving is calm, is not does not have any
Yes.
problems, right?
Okay.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much. Yes, don't stop at the red light. Okay, when we see in different, for example, crowded streets, it's very common to see this, especially in other places. In our country, it is kind of it depends on the avenue. So the next one, how many drivers where you live don't signal when turning? So in this case, please, Angeles,
Mm, no.
none of them? Okay,
Sorry?
so yes, in this case, don't signal when turning, it will depend. In some cases, when, for example, in the neighborhood we live, actually, in some of them, they have, for example, the red lights and other ones, but in this case, that's too pretty common. What about the last one in this case? How many drivers where you live pass in a no passing zone in this case, in which it says no, cars not here, but people do not attend to these signals, maybe. So in this case, what do you think about this, Marcel?
I think no, it's not pretty common. Yeah,
Yes, excellent.
and
Thank
the
you so
research
much.
says I think it's not very common.
Thank you so much. Yes, it's not pretty common actually. It happens in places even though where people does not live near to, or the place in this case is not too crowded. So let's see. In this case, dangerous driving habit, speed, tailgate, in which they are fighting to be the first one, second one, whichever it is. Talk on the phone, text while driving. It's kind of different because while you're talking in the phone, you only use one hand and the other is free. But when you're text while driving, you're using in this case or being more focused on where you're right. So we have to think about that. Weave through traffic. With the traffic. Okay. Trying in this case to avoid any of these cars in order to be the first one. Don't stop at red light. Don't stop at red light. Don't respect, in this case, the signals. Don't signal when turning. Don't signal when turning, in which people do not use, in this case, guiñadores. Passed in a no passing zone, in this case, do not respect the signals as well. Okay? So all of this vocabulary talking about driving around. So now, let's listen how it is pronounced, and then some of you, the ones who I need to participate, you're going to repeat, okay? So now listen carefully.
Speed. Tailgate.
Talk on the phone.
Text while driving.
Weave through traffic.
Not stop at red lights.
Not signal when turning.
Pass in a no passing zone.
Okay, so now please, in this case, Angeles, could you read in this case all the words?
Speed, tailgate, talk on the phone, text while driving, with traffic, not stop at the red lights, not signal sorry, when turning, and pass in a no passing zone.
Excellent, thank you so much. Next one, Daniel. Daniel, are you here?
Yes, teacher. Speed, tailgates, take on the phone, that's while driving, without traffic, no stop at the red lights, no signal when turning, pass in a no passing zone.
Excellent, thank you so much, Daniel. What about you in this case, please? Marcela?
Speed, tailgate, talk on the phone, text while driving, weave through traffic, and not stop at red lights, not signal when turning, and pass in no passing zone.
Excellent, thank you so much. And the last one, please, in this case, Cristel.
Speed, tailgate, talk on the phone, text while driving, withdraw traffic, not stop at the red lights, not signal when turning, pass in a no passing zone.
Excellent, thank you so much. So now This is vocabulary dangerous driving habits in this case, in which we have different situations in which are dangerous to drive because of the driver. In this case, life is involved, and also because of people in this case, all right? Or the welfare of any people, maybe with other cars or other drivers, all right? So do not forget speed, tailgate, talk on the phone, text while driving. Tailgate, you're going to remember tail that means cola in Spanish, actually. So tailgate is the one that is behind the car and he wants to win in order to be the first one, okay? It's like a fighting to be the first one because he wants to gain the position it has. With through traffic, with for us is like a hola, like an hola, no hola de saludar, sino la hola en este caso del mar, ¿no? So in this case, wave through traffic is to go to, and in this case, avoid the other cars in order to be the first or in order to arrive early wherever the person is going to. Non-stop at red light, not signal when turning. Not signal when turning is because the car has in this case different, not the ability, but let's say like ability, okay? A configuration in which it can use some signal in order to see where it goes to be. It's going to turn on the corner, it's going to continue with that, it's going to be to the corner on the left, on the right, so it has its own, we can say, configuration in this case. So, no signal when turning. Pass in a no passing zone, in this case violating the rules. Do not see what it says in the picture, do not see in this case the signals, do not see whatever it is, so the person avoid that, okay? So now, let's continue with the topic. I think the ones that can be, in order we have to take into account, is tailgate, wave through traffic, because the other no signal when turning, no prender guiñadores in this case, passing and no passing zone. I think it are understandable. So now, let's continue with this. Here what we have in this case is a period in which you're going to compare your service, but we already did this, a kind of speed. Later on we are going to do another activities. So now, here it says, read and listen to a conversation. This is assuming. In assuming what we learn are new phrases in which we can use in different situational context conversation. For example, in this case, we are going to talk about and see how it is a conversation about an accident. Now we are talking about driving around. So now what it says, notice the feature words and phrases. Which are the feature words? The ones that are underlined. Okay, so now let's listen this and please pay attention to this one, the ones that are underlined. Each of these has its own meaning according to the context. That's why here and in other units as well, in zooming, they present as different phrases, present as different words, but these words can have different translation. It has its literal translation, of course, but in this case, they have their own translation according to the context. And what is the context? They are the ones that are not featured but help us to understand what does it mean. Okay, so now let's listen carefully how it goes this conversation. Please, you can take notes, maybe an inference of what do you think it may have the meaning, okay? But before to this, we focus on this. Alex is going to have the standard, in this case, American English established. So its accent will be American English. We're not going to have no problem actually, but difference. What about Nicole? Nicole in this case has a Portuguese accent. So here, you also are going to identify these accents as well. So now let's listen carefully how it goes this conversation, and please pay attention to the ones that are featured in this case.
Hey, honey, how was your day?
Don't ask.
Why? What happened?
You want the good news or the bad news? Actually, I'll start with the worst. I had an accident on the way to work.
Oh no.
Nothing serious, just a fender bender. The good news is that I'm okay and no one was hurt.
Thank goodness for that. So what happened?
The first thing that happened was I had a flat tire. But no big deal. I changed the tire 1, 2, 3, just like they taught me in driving school.
Okay.
So I drove off, and then 10 minutes later, the car died. It just stopped cold.
No way.
I know, right? So I called roadside assistance to get a tow truck. And while I was waiting for the tow truck, I went to get a cup of coffee.
Okay.
And when I came back, a cop was writing me a ticket. It seems I was in a no parking zone.
So what about the accident?
Oh, right. So the tow truck towed me to the service station and they put in a new battery. When I was pulling out of the station, a car cut me off. I was trying to avoid him and I hit a stop sign. There isn't much damage, but still.
All right, so now let's see in this case. When we use this kind of phrase, don't ask, what does it mean actually? You can say it in Spanish, in English, in order to see an equivalence of meaning in our context. Carla?
Well, don't ask if they say en español will be no preguntes, pero de una forma en la que uno no quiere recordar lo que pasó.
Excellent. That's right. It's a huge difference actually when we say don't ask is like an order in which no, I don't want any question, but in this case, don't ask is because the meaning behind of that is something worse happens, something bad happens, so that the person don't want to talk about that. Why this person don't want to talk about? Because this person don't want to remember what's going on or what happened to this. Okay, excellent. Thank you so much, Carla. What about the other one? Just offend the vendor. Nothing serious, just offend the vendor. So in this case, what do you think it can mean? It can be the meaning, you can say it. An equivalence translation, of course, it is vehement in your level. So what do you think in this case? Let's see the context. In the meantime, you are thinking. Give me a second. It says, you want the good news or the bad news? Actually, I will start with the worst. I had an accident on the way to work. Oh no, nothing serious, just a fender bender. The good news is that I'm okay and no one was hurt. So in this case, what does it mean, a fender bender? Any volunteer? Or what do you understand? Or what you can infer? We can think it is a fender bender. Any volunteer? Nobody? Okay. So we're going to see later on what is a fender bender. Betsabe, what about you? What do you think?
Like nothing serious, más o menos.
Yes, actually yes. It's related to what it says. Nothing serious, just a fender bender. Fender bender actually means that it's a problem that happened for a moment and it can be solved. Or it is been solved. So it is not a big damage, but maybe the person has in this case some struggle to deal with a problem. All right? It's kind of that. So let's see in this case, the ones, no big deal. This is a phrase very useful when you talk about difficult moments. So it says, thank goodness for that. So what happened? The first thing that happened was I had a flat tire, but no big deal. I changed the tire 1, 2, 3, just like they taught me in the driving school. So in this case, what do you think does it mean? No big deal. No big deal. It's not a big deal. Carla?
It's like saying that it's not a big problem.
Excellent. That's right. That is not not a very big problem because the problem can be solved in this case, so it's not too much to be worried. Excellent, thank you so much. It says, okay, so I drove off, and then 10 minutes later, the car died. It just stopped cold. What do you think does it mean stopped cold? In literal meaning, actually, it's not the same meaning as it is. So what do you think stop cold? Stop cold. In this case, stopped cold. Like in Spanish, you can say se paró de la nada, digamos. Se paró de la nada. Something like that. It is an abrupt action in which you are not waiting actually to the car to be stopped. So it is a stop. You didn't wait to that. You didn't have any notice before. It just stopped in the moment. Okay? In this case, what do you think? All right, so the tow truck towed me to the service station and they put in a new battery. When I was pulling out of the station, what do you think is pulling out? Pulling out. What do you think is pulling out? Carla?
Es como sacarlo.
Yes, excellent. Sacarlo como tal, ¿no? En este caso, cuando manejas y ya te estás yendo, ¿no? En este caso te estás llevando todo. So pulling out of the station. A car cut me off. Cut me off. So what does it mean? Cut me off. Nobody cut me off. Carla, again, please.
I think it's like saying that someone, como ponerse en el paso.
Yes, that's right. When someone in this case is like close to you, meanwhile you are passing in this case. So the car could hit her out or could her off in this case, and she was trying to avoid him. And I hit a stop sign. There isn't much, not much, but it is still okay. So just in case, in this, let's see, what does it mean according to the context? Because we have its own activity. So here we have the understand followed by the context. So let's see, according to what we already infer or we answer. Okay. So now here do we have some question in which it says, let's see, number one, if you respond, don't ask to someone's question about what happened, what do you mean in this case? Something bad happened or nothing happened? Angeles, please.
Something bad happened.
Excellent. Something bad happened. So what about number two? A fender bender is a minor accident or serious accident? Laura?
Is a minor accident.
Excellent. Minor accident. What about the next one in this case? If you say, no big deal, you mean that something was easy or difficult? Cristel?
Be difficult.
Actually, it's easy, okay?
Okay.
If something say big deal, it's a big deal, it's difficult. But it says no, a big deal or no big deal, it's easy, all right? Easy. En este caso, cuando decimos it's no big deal, esto se usa en muchas ocasiones. Por ejemplo, no sé, supónganse, alguien les carga mucha tarea, ¿no? Y en este caso, pero la tarea es comprensible y se puede realizar. So you say, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. ¿Ok? Not a big deal in this case. Bueno, usualmente se dice con el not, ¿no? Pero aquí, en contexto americano, se dice no. No big deal, por el hecho de que no es un asunto o algo que no se pueda llegar a tratar. ¿Ok? No es algo problemático, no, se puede llegar a hacer. Está como con objetivos SMART, ¿no? En este caso son alcanzables, se pueden hacer, se puede medir, ¿no? Así que that's mean no big deal, no big deal. Excellent. What about number 4 in this case? It says if something has stopped cold, is no longer betsabe.
Moving.
Moving. Excellent. Liz, what about number 5? It says if you pull out of somewhere when you're driving, that means you are
You are leaving.
leaving. Excellent. Number 6. If a car has cut you off when you are driving, it has suddenly what in this case? Crystal?
Eh, eh, Driven in front of you.
Driven in front of you. Excellent. So now check it in your books. Number 1, letter A. Number 2, letter B. Number 3, letter A. All of them are A. I'm so sorry. Number 4, letter B. Number 5, letter B. Number 6, letter A. All right? Perfect. So now let's continue. Here you have the understanding by the context. This is a very important skill you have to develop during reading comprehension. All right? It has its own complexity, yes, but it will depend how you or for what you would like to learn English in this case. So here we have an speaking is a discussion in which it says, discuss an accident and its cause. Let the diagram guide your discussion and include language from topic warm up and zooming. Okay? This you're going to do it orally. You are going to send an audio in classroom. Okay? I will tell you to later on because you have to practice. Some of you're speaking, okay, and fluently. So what you are going to say in this case is to follow the arrows in this case, okay? Here do we have, have you ever seen an accident? If so, what does it mean so? If you have seen, in this case, an accident, so you are going to go to the question number 2. Where it was, you're going to ask where it was the accident. What was the cause of the accident? If you know, you can answer the in this case, the fact, the answer, the corresponding answer, the real answer. If not, you can infer. What is infer or inference is to have an expected answer of what do you think it may happen. It's not a true, it's not something real, but it's an in this case, it's an infer of what you have seen about the situation, okay? Or maybe what other people told you, but it's not a fact. Then number 4, describe an accident you've heard about or seen in the news. Where was it? What was the cause of the accident? You can find different situation that has happened recently. I think I'm not one to say it's very common, but in the daily life you always listen kind of car accidents or driving accidents. Okay? So this you are going to do it orally. You're going to send an audio in classroom. I will in this case making available the work because it's programmed. All right? So now let's continue with this topic, new vocabulary as well, because we have to talk about grammar structures, and for that we need a lot of vocabulary for that. So now it says major car systems and parts. Here we're going to say only the major ones. What are the major, the general, and the most used, and the well-known in this case. Not very specific yet. It has its own topic. I think in the next level, you are going to see this in a most detailed way, right? So now, this one is mostly to communicate. because when you travel to other places, you have to tell the people. Maybe you are in a car. It's very common when you travel abroad or travel to other places, they always tell you, if it is for a study, they always tell you you have to have your driver license. So that's important for them because they know that you are not going to have, like in our context, like minibus, like the public cars we have in order to take and to arrive to other places we would like. They have their own places, like bus stations, in which they respect. They have the metro station as well, in which they respect. They cannot stop anywhere they want. So this is very important because sometimes this can help to you, maybe to, in this case, rent a car. It is very common to rent a car and then to go to other places. So now, let's say in this case, this for was and with its own meaning. So now, listen carefully how it is pronounced and what about the meaning actually. Because some of them, for example, the battery, the motor, engine, that's the same in this case, the brackets and the steerings are battery, motor are the same as Spanish, so we don't have problems. Steering and the brakes, I think, is the new ones for us. So let's listen carefully.
The engine. The motor.
The steering.
The battery.
The brakes. Now listen again and repeat.
The engine. The motor.
The steering.
The battery.
The brakes.
Excellent. So now, please, I would like in this case, Abraham, could you read in this case the 4 words? Please.
Okay, the engine, the motor, the steering, the battery, the brakes.
Excellent. In this case, the engine. Engine. Ángeles.
The engine, the motor, the steering, the battery, the brakes.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Betsabe.
The engine, the motor, the steering, the battery, the brakes.
Brakes. Excellent. Carla.
The engine, the motor, the steering, the battery, and the brakes.
Excellent. Cristel.
The engine, the motor, the steering, the battery, and the brakes.
Excellent. Daniel.
The engine, the motor, the steering, the battery, the brakes.
Excellent. Estrella.
The engine, the motor, the steering, the battery, the brakes.
Excellent. Laura.
The engine, the motor, the steering, the battery, and the brakes.
Excellent. Liz.
Okay, teacher. The engine, the motor, the steering, the battery, the brakes.
Excellent. And the last one, Marcela, please.
The engine, the motor, the steering, the battery, and the brakes.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So now let's talk about in this case, what about the engine and the motor makes the car to move in this case, makes the car move. What about the steering? Enables the driver to turn left or right. What does it mean, enables? Enables means que nos permite a nosotros, okay? Enables the drivers to turn left or turn right. What about the battery? is the ones that provide electricity to start the engine. Okay, to start the engine, what do we need? The battery. What about the brakes? The brakes in this case enable the driver to slow or stop the car. Enable, nos permite. All right? So now let's continue with this topic. Driving around is not only to meaning about knowing types of car, types, the necessities, in this case, some dangerous actions, but also to understand while reading. Estrella? No, Estrella? All right, so now here we have activate vocabulary in which it says complete the conversation with the correct form words of the vocabulary. Then read the conversation with a partner. So here first what we are going to do is to complete each of these according to the context. Okay, in this case it says I've been having a problem with, let's see, we don't know, it can be with all of this, but let's read. That could be serious. Are you able to stop the car? Yes, but they've been making funny sound. So look at this. Here is talking about if you are able to stop the car. So in this case, which of these words or phrase, which actually words, can be adequate for this conversation? Angeles, please.
I think the brakes.
Excellent. The brakes. Perfect. So now in this case, let's see conversation 2. We have to read everything. Everything is going to be over a signal. It says, I was ready to drive to work, but the car wouldn't start. Oh, the car wouldn't start. Let's see. Is something wrong with the engine? No, it was just, I get a new one, and now the car I'm sorry, aquí están sus nombres. Now the car starts fine. So in this case, what do you think, Cristel?
I think the battery. Battery.
The battery. Yes, the battery. What about number 3? Let's read. Roadside assistance. Good. I need help. I had a little trouble turning, but then suddenly the car turning to the right. Look at turning, traveling, turning. So we have to think which gadget help us to turning in this case. The car went off the road. Are you okay? Yes, but I don't want to drive because there is definitely a problem with Laura. With
With
what?
the steering. The steering.
Excellent, the steering, because the steering is the ones who make me able to turn in the left, turn in the right. All right? So what about the last one? Mrs. Brown says, the car's making a weird sound. First, is making a weird sound. So let's see. Okay, let's have a look. Oh, wow, look at what? This card isn't going anywhere. I will call her and tell her she needs a new car. So in this case, something is making a weird sound. So the engine of the motor, that is the same in this case. Okay? So now, for conversation number 1, I will need 2 participants in order to take the role. And you can practice your pronunciation and also see how it is, the conversation. Okay? So for conversation number 1, do I have any 2 volunteers in order to play the role? One's letter A and the other letter B. Cristel, you will be letter A. Angeles, you will be letter B for conversation number 1. So you can start, please.
I've been having a problem with the brakes.
That could be serious. Are you able to stop the car?
Yes, but they've been making a funny sound.
Excellent. Thank you so much, you two. So what about conversation number 2? Marcela, you will do letter A. Any other volunteer or victim? Liz, please. Letter B. So you can start.
Okay, I was ready to drive to work, but the car wouldn't start.
Is something wrong with the engine?
No, it was just the battery. I got a new one and now the car starts fine.
Excellent. Thank you so much, you two. What about for conversation number 2? I need other 2 volunteers. Betsabe and Laura. Betsabe, you are going to do letter A and Laura letter B. So you can start.
Roadside assistant. Good. I need help. I had a little trouble turning, but then suddenly the car turned to the right. The car went off the road.
Are you okay?
Yes, but I don't want to drive because there's definitely a problem with the steering.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And for the last one, I need other 2 volunteers in order to take the role. So, my victims. Daniel, you will do letter A. And in this case, please. Abraham, you will do letter B. My 2 boys in this case. Daniel, you can start.
Mr. Brown said the car's making a wave sound.
Okay. Let's have a look.
Wow, look at the engine, the motor. This car isn't going anywhere. I called her and told her she needs a new car.
Excellent. Thank you so much, you two. So as you could see, here, what we understand about this word help us to also the context. This can be one of the ways in which your abilities to recognize a word or new vocabulary can be also evaluated, especially in your book that as I could searching more about information is more focused on what is TOEIC. TOEIC exam is not only focused on what is grammar, writing, speaking, no. TOEIC exam is more focused on an integrated evaluation. What does it mean integrated? If they are going to talk about grammar, of course you have to be able to know vocabulary, you have to be able, in this case, writing, you have to be able to know other skills. So TOEIC is one that proposes us to learn new vocabulary according to the context. To understand which word, because here we can say all of the words are possible to be done here, but we have to read and to identify which one is the corresponding. Okay? So be careful with that as well. And also take that into account. So now here is our business. This topic I needed to talk about. Okay, so let's talk about unfinished or continuing actions, the present perfect continuous. In order that you can understand this topic clearly, because it is important for me, please, I will say in Spanish and in my Spanglish at the moment. Voy a decirlo en español y en inglés, cuando se necesite, ¿ok? En español, para explicar las reglas más que todo, porque ustedes no van a explicar las reglas cuando hablen en inglés, no es necesario. Lo que se evalúa es la habilidad que ustedes saben al momento de reconocer las reglas, ¿ya? Ahora, estamos hablando ahorita del presente perfecto continuo, ¿no? Or in English, the present perfect continuous. Van a tener cuidado con lo siguiente. Hemos visto con ustedes solo el present perfect. No hemos visto el past perfect. Son dos cosas diferentes que nos limitan dos cosas diferentes. Del present perfect continuous también tenemos the past perfect continuous, pero eso no lo vamos a ver más adelante. Justo en este tópico, en esta unidad, vamos a ver el past perfect, así que no se preocupen. O el continuous también, ¿ya? So now, the present perfect continuous, creo que ya saben ustedes que tenemos que llevar ¿qué? El verbo en gerundio. ¿Qué es el gerundio en el inglés? ¿Qué sufijo usábamos? Sufijo es aquella partícula pequeña que lleva cualquier palabra al final. El ing. ¿No ven? el ing. Excellent, Liz. ing. So, este es el gerundio. En inglés, en español también tenemos el gerundio que es el ando, endo, ¿no? Ando. Yo estoy caminando, yo estoy corriendo, yo estoy escribiendo, etcétera. Pero en el inglés es más simplificado porque no tenemos ando, endo según el verbo. Simplemente ponemos ing para cualquier verbo y dar en este caso la expresión de continuos. Ahora, pregunta para todos ustedes. ¿Qué se acuerdan? Pueden decirlo en español, está bien, porque estamos entendiendo la regla por el momento. ¿Se acuerdan para qué usábamos nosotros el presente continuo? ¿Quién se acuerda? ¿En qué momentos usábamos el presente continuo? Si se acuerdan. No el simple present, el present continuous. ¿En qué momento se usaba? ¿O para qué usábamos? ¿O para qué usan incluso ahora? ¿Por qué usamos? Liz, please.
In Spanish, teacher.
Sí, sí, dilo, no hay problema.
Para describir acciones que estamos haciendo en el momento. Yo estoy caminando ahora, ¿no? Yo estoy estudiando ahora. Algo así, teacher.
No, muy bien, estás bien. En este caso, como mencionó Liz, con el presente continuo describimos acciones que están pasando en este momento, ¿no? Es en este instante, a diferente del present simple, que el present simple que nos ayuda a expresar, también puede ser acciones que se están dando en este momento, pero son más que todo para acciones que son hábitos, rutinas, ¿no? Si yo digo I wake up, es simple present porque todos los días nos despertamos, pero si le ponemos hora ya, igual sigue siendo simple present. Ahora, ese es el continuo. Así que relativo a ello, el present perfect continuous tiene que ver. Porque ¿qué influye dentro de esta regla? ¿O qué es lo que vamos a necesitar entender? Que the present perfect continuous va a manejar dos tiempos en su composición. Obviamente que no va a ser, no, tengo que poner pasado y presente. No, past y present. ¿Por qué? Porque va a haber acciones que no están terminadas, las unfinished actions, va a haber acciones que están continuando, que han empezado en el pasado y hasta ahora continúan, que es el ahora, el presente. Así que el present perfect nos ayuda en esas dos representaciones. Ahora, ¿por qué continuous? Porque va a hacer referencia a diferentes situaciones que enseguida les voy a explicar, ¿ya? Primero, vamos a acordar su libro y luego después les voy a añadir cierta información que es importante, ya que estamos hablando de este tema. Como estaba revisando su libro previamente, la anterior semana, justo vi que les mencionan reglas, pero no todas como tal. Pero yo les voy a añadir. Primero, ¿qué nos dice? Use the present perfect continuous with for all since to describe actions. Algo que tenemos que separar. En el caso del present perfect, nosotros igual usábamos el for y el since. Igual lo usábamos porque nos permitía a nosotros que expresar tiempo, solo con eso. Pero ¿en qué momento tiempo? No un tiempo donde la acción haya terminado en el pasado, sino el tiempo de que la acción sigue continuando hasta ahora, ¿no? Por ejemplo, yo puedo decir, My father has worked here since 2010. Significa que ha empezado a trabajar desde 2010 y hasta ahora 2025 sigue trabajando. Ese es el present perfect. Son situaciones, ¿no? Situaciones. Pero en el caso del present perfect continuous, van a ser más acciones que situaciones, and which is the difference. En la acción existe más dinamismo y en las situaciones no es que no existe el dinamismo, pero son situaciones específicas, ¿ya? Aunque créanme o no, al igual que en el español, al igual que en el español, todos los tiempos, al igual que allá en Estados Unidos, se llegan a respetar. Así que en aquí también llega a haber la confusión. Por ejemplo, aquí en español usamos bastante lo que es los condicionales para el futuro, pero no se usa los condicionales, ¿no? Por ejemplo, si a alguien le digo, ¿cuál es el futuro simple de tal verbo, ¿no? En este caso de correr, correría. No, pero correría es una condicional. En este caso, yo corro, yo correré, ¿no? Así que ahí igual tenemos esas confusiones dentro de nuestro castellano. Así que en el lado de speaking no hay mucho problema en reconocer esto, ¿ya? Pero tienen que saber cómo usarlo y para qué usarlo y con qué significado usarlo. So now, present perfect continues with for or since to describe actions that began, que comiencen o empiezan, in the past, acciones que empiezan en el pasado, and continue in the present, y que van a continuar en el presente. We usually use action verbs. Para esto usamos los verbos accionales. ¿Qué son los verbos accionales? Todos aquellos que son acciones que pueda realizar una persona u una cosa también, ¿no? Los impersonales también. Not stated verbs, verbos que no son estáticos como tal. Por ejemplo, en este caso, verbos estáticos como tal son aquellos donde no existe el movimiento o el dinamismo. In these sentences, for example, form the present continuous with have been or has been. Ya sabemos, el have o el has es dependiendo de la persona. Creo que ahí nomás tenemos que tener cuidado, ¿no? Si yo digo, I have been, you have been, they have been, we have been, está permitido. She has been, he has been, plus a present participle. Siempre vamos a usar el been porque no olvidemos que como estamos hablando del present perfect continuous, entonces necesitamos, para que yo ponga un gerundio, necesito el verbo to be. Pero como estamos hablando del presente perfecto, mi verbo to be, pues el be como tal va a estar en su parte en este caso, ¿no? En este caso en el past participle. They've been driving since they were teenagers. So look at this. ¿Qué nos dice? No olvidemos que en aquí, aparte de tiempos específicos, nos pueden anotar mensajes del pasado. Por ejemplo, they've been driving since they were teenagers. That means that until now, that is the present, they are driving. They are continue driving. They know how to drive. Okay? So that's what it means. They've been driving since they were teenagers. She's been looking for a convertible for a month. That means that until now, she is continue looking for that because maybe this person doesn't find what she's looking for. Okay? So now let's review a little bit what is present perfect. So we cannot be confused. We use the present perfect with for and since to describe different situations that began in the past and continue in the present. We usually use non-action or stative verbs to describe situation. Ojo que aquí es usual, pero no significa que es al 100%. Eso tienen que tenerlo en cuenta. Hay algunos verbos que van a permitirse usar estos dos, present perfect y present perfect continuous. Para ciertos verbos se van a usar y va a ser lo mismo, el mismo significado y no va a haber ningún problema. Eso tienen que tener en cuenta, ¿ya? For example, here, I've been in this car for 3 hours. I've been in this car for 3 hours. He's needed a new car since he changed jobs. So look at this. I've been in this car for 3 hours. It means that 3 hours in this case before this person was staying there and until now she is continuing. He has needed a new car since he changed job. So he changed job and he continued needed a new car. Maybe because he's saving money, but here it doesn't mention that he has the car. He still needed a car. Okay? So look at this. Here we have some verbs as well, like work, live, teach. We use with for and since as well, but in both the present perfect and the present perfect continuous. And as mentioned before, the meaning is the same. El significado va a ser el mismo, no va a cambiar. Si usamos work, live, and teach. Si es que ustedes ven aquí. Por ejemplo, she taught English for 6 years. 6 years, I'm sorry. She's been teaching English for 6 years. So look at this. The meaning is the same. ¿Qué significa? Que en este caso enseñó o estaba enseñando o enseña inglés desde hace 6 años. Okay? So in this case, it's the same, the meaning. So with these verbs, work, live, teach, both are the same. You can use in this case what is present perfect or present perfect continuous. When you are going to see in this case the other best to look at this, you're going to, in this case, you're going to realize that some of it cannot work if you want to write it down like present perfect continuous. So what it says, use the present perfect continuous without for or since for continuing actions that has begun recently, and the specific start time is unimportant sometimes. For example, I've been driving my kids to school all week. That means that you are continuing driving your kids. My son's been studying for his driver test. So maybe until now he's continued studying for the test. Okay, some stative verbs in this case. Verb to be, have, want, because stative verbs are actually the ones that do not have too much dynamic of movement. So for example, have in this case, when we say have, you cannot see in this case the movements, you cannot see in this case the dynamic something. Want as well not, need, like, now, believe, feel, love, like, hate, dislike, and other verbs. Mostly of these verbs are como voluntades en este caso, ¿no? Voluntades que no ves que hay el movimiento, no existe el dinamismo accionar. Okay, so now, in order to understand more clear, give me a second. Present perfect continuous is going to relate actually to what is our line. So, first of all, it says that it's going to work with what? Unfinished actions. What is an unfinished action in this case? Are the ones actions that simply cannot finish. So, this is the present, future, and the past. So, suppose the action, la acción del presente continuo, está aquí y ok. Y la acción, queremos referirnos por una acción continua que pasó en el pasado. Así que, de esa manera. Puede ser una acción que haya sido continua en el pasado y haya pasado en el pasado. Solo para referirnos a ello. Puede ser una de ellas. El segundo puede llegar también a usarse en este caso. Creo que tengo mis líneas de tiempo. A ver. Ya. En otros casos podemos hacer también, hablar de acciones que han terminado hace poco, que no son en este caso muy lejanas a línea temporal. Otro, podemos hablar de acciones que han empezado en el pasado y siguen continuando en el presente. Del futuro ya no sabemos porque no llevamos mucho por el momento, pero en este caso han pasado y continúan en el presente, ¿no? ¿Qué más podemos ver dentro de esto? A ver. Sí, más que todo para lapsos de tiempo. Lapsos de tiempo y acciones que han empezado en el pasado y continúan hasta el presente. ¿Ok? So, in these cases, les voy a pasar, pero ese resumen que tengo, no lo tengo aquí. Tengo tablet. Mi tablet no está aquí. Ok. So, this is the present perfect continuous. Present perfect continuous is mostly focused on what? To express a past continuous actions, to express an action that is not finished what doesn't mean the action is not finished is that maybe the action until the present is continue. Okay? For example, in this case, here we have the conversation. I've been looking for a car for a month. I've been considering a is X300 in this case, is a model. So in this case, look at this. I've been looking for a car for a month. So this person is continue looking for the car because he didn't find it. So he's continue. Until now, this action is not finished. The action is continue because he doesn't mention in the sentence that, yes, I found the car, nothing. If it is that, well, simple past, only thing. All right? So now, please, in this case, let's see. My timeline. Les voy a pasar esto. Tengo mis dibujitos. No está aquí. All right. So now, let's continue with this topic. Please, do not forget this word. Work, live, and teach. In any context you're going to use, it will be the same. We don't have enough problems because they are the main verbs we used to learn at the beginning in what is foundations. So as well as it is mostly used and it has its own way to treat. What was that? To treat that, okay? The stative verbs, please also consider that mostly of the verbs that there no exist in this case, the dynamic, so you can use it with present perfect. Some of them can be with present perfect continuous, yes, but it's not to use in this case to see them. It's mostly for present perfect. Be, have, want, need, like, now, believe, feel, love, like, hate, dislike, etc. Right? So now, let's see how it goes in this case. Because later on we are going to see what is in this case, the past continuous, kind of different about this. Let me see. So now, here what we have is the grammar practice in which it says complete the sentences with the present perfect continuous. So what you have to consider in this case is to write correct auxiliary verb. In this case, which are our auxiliary verbs? Have or has. Been is going always to be stable in this case. And the verb. So Cristel, please.
Norma and Matt have been driving that old car for 20 years.
Excellent. Have been driving that old car for 20 years. Thank you so much, Cristel. What about number 2 in this case? It says, my family, my neighbor is buy cars at the Murchison dealership since 2010. So in this case, any volunteer? Nobody? Actually, what you have to do in this case is only to realize that is have or has. And the other thing you have to maintain, like being, maintaining, and the verb you have to write down with ing. Liz?
Teacher, I think my family have been buying. Have, has. Oh, has.
Has in this case. Has. My family has been buying cars at the Murchison dealer since 2010. All right?
Teacher.
Why in this case it's has? Because family actually is looking like it. Give me a second. Su equivalencia es como un it. ¿Por qué aquí es como un it del my family? Porque family ahorita es como un concepto, no está como algo específico o como algo humano. My family está bien, pero my family es el concepto. Lo que es humano, digamos, sería my father, my mother. Ahí recién hace referencia a una persona. Pero cuando decimos my family, no se nos viene a nosotros una persona a la mente. Son varias, claro, y está bien, pero no es una persona como un she, como un he en este caso, ¿no? Sino it, como un it. Así que como es solo un concepto, El it va a reemplazarlo ello más adelante. Por eso en aquí es has. Has. Solo por ello. Ya. Thank you so much, Liz. What about the number 3? Sandra, for the new Atlantis to come out. Marcela, please.
Sandra has been waiting for the new Atlantis to come out. She doesn't want any other kind of card.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Has been waiting. What about number 4 in this case, Laura?
I have been going to the mountains on all my vacations for years.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Have been going. And the last one in this case, Cristel.
We have been traveling by taxi since the accident.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So now, please, you can complete in your books meanwhile I am explaining. It says, number 1, Norma and Matt have been driving that old car for 20 years. ¿Qué significa que Norma y Matt ahora, en el presente, ellos siguen conduciendo ese viejo auto que nos menciona? Eso significa. Miren que aquí la acción no está completa. Es an unfinished action. Norma and Matt have been driving that old car for 20 years. Number 2, my family has been buying cars at the Murchison dealership since 2010. ¿Qué significa que toda la familia como tal compra autos de este lugar, ¿no? Murchison dealership desde el 2010, que significa que hasta ahora, en cualquier momento que ellos compren o hayan comprado nuevos autos, pues los siguen comprando del mismo lugar. No han cambiado, así que la acción de comprar en ese lugar específico no se ha concluido, no se ha terminado, sigue continuando hasta el presente. Sandra has been waiting for the new Atlantis to come out. She doesn't want any other kind of car. So what does it mean in this case? Que Sandra ha estado esperando en este caso por el New Atlantis to come out. Pero ella no quiere otro tipo de auto que no sea ese. Así que hasta ahora, en el presente, ella sigue esperando a que llegue el New Atlantis to come out, ¿no? New Atlantis. Así que present perfect continuous. I have been going to the mountains on all my vacations for years. That means that in the present and maybe in the future, because it says for years, he is going to continue going to the mountains all his vacations, que significa que todas sus vacaciones él va a seguir yendo a las montañas. Y no se ha concluido la acción. We have been traveling by taxi since the accident. Miren, en el pasado tal vez teníamos, ¿no? La acción pasada, un accidente. Eso marcó algo en sus vidas, que es un cambio en este caso de accionarios. Y ese cambio pues sigue permaneciendo hasta ahora. ¿Y cuál es el cambio? De que ellos viajan o van en taxi desde ese momento que fue el accidente. ¿Qué quiero que noten aquí? Primero, no todo nos va a decir años, no todo nos va a decir una fecha específica. Hay algunos que nos van a dar contextos situacionales. Hay otros que nos van a dar especificaciones de causas, ¿no? Así que tengan eso muy en cuenta cuando hablemos nosotros del present perfect continuous. All right? Perfect. So now, porque vamos a avanzar. Si nos alcanza el otro para ver cuál es la diferencia. By the moment, you are going to have your break. In this case, 10 minutes of break. Vayan a relajarse un poquito, vayan a tomar agüita. And then we are going to continue with the topic. ¿Ya? Voy a estar respondiendo algunos de sus mensajes porque no se han conectado, creo que 2 y me están mensajeando. Así que Eso, chicos, ¿ya? Vayan a descansar, 10 minutitos de break, vayan a tomar, los que no han desayunado, vayan a desayunar, los que no se han estirado en la mañanita, vayan a estirarse y vayan, hagan algo, caminen, hagan su, ¿cómo se llama esto? Se me ha olvidado. Pero es un descanso donde te estiras, ¿no? Te estiras, así que también les aconsejo para que no estemos con unas 3 horas de carga y seamos bien sedentarios. Así que vayan a descansar, ya. Voy a poner cronómetro aquí para que tengamos en cuenta el tiempo. Okay, so see you in 10 minutes. Okay, so now let's continue with the topic. In this case, talking about what is present perfect continuous, we are going to later on review as well in order to understand the past continuous. So now, let's see, give me a second. Okay, now let's see a little bit communicator activated, and as you could see in this case, you can also see using what is the present perfect continuous in its own conversation. So now what it says, this communicator activated, do not forget that present as social language. What is social language? Are some phrases, some gaps, some words that help us to communicate in a clearly way and also in a more dynamic way. Do not forget that when we speak any language, it's not always to speak very formal because we have our own recipes. What is recipe? Nuestros recipientes, es decir, a quienes nos dirigimos nosotros a hablar. So in these cases, it can be with professionals, it can be with our friends, it can be with a person we don't know. So for each of these groups, what we have is different ways to talk to them. It's not the same as we know, okay? So now what it says, now let's discuss reasons for getting a new car. So this is a conversation model in which we have phrases to express frustration in this case. For example, one of them is, I've had it. I've had it. That settles it. That settles it. Enough is enough. That's mostly common. Enough is enough, and I had it. So in this case, let's listen how it goes this conversation, and please pay attention to how it is expressed. Mostly of these are expressions. What does it mean to be expressed? Do not forget that in this case, what is my expressive signal? Mi signo de puntuación expresiva en este caso is going to help to differentiate in this case the intonation, to notice. It's going to be more relevant for emotions, for feelings, than when it isn't. Okay, so now listen carefully how it goes this conversation, and then some of you are going to play the role. So please pay attention.
I was on my way to work yesterday and the car just died.
No way. What was wrong?
This time, the engine. I've had it. It's time for a new car.
You know, I've been thinking of getting one too. We've been having brake trouble.
That's no fun. What kind are you going to get?
A minivan. Used, if we can find a good one with low mileage.
All right, so in this case, please, I would like some of you in order to participate. Do I have any volunteer who would like to also practice your pronunciation? You have to exaggerate your pronunciation. So, Carla and Cristel, excellent. So, Carla, you will do letter A, and Cristel, you will do letter B. So, you can start.
I was on my way to work yesterday and the car just died.
No way, what was wrong?
This time, the engine I have it, it's time for a new car.
You know, I've been thinking of getting one too. We've been having brake trouble.
That's no fun. What kind are you going to get?
A minivan, you said, if we can find a good one with low mileage.
Excellent, thank you so much. Any other two volunteers to practice this conversation? Also on page 42, yes. Marcela, okay, so Marcela, you will be letter A, and anyone else? Okay, so in this case, please, Betsabe, letter B. So you can start, Marcela.
I was on my way to work yesterday and the car just died.
No way. What was wrong?
This time, the engine. I have had it. It's time for a new car.
You know, I've been thinking of getting one too. We've been having brake trouble.
Oh, that's not fun. What kind are you going to get?
I mean, even you see if we can find a good one with low village.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So in this case, as you could see here, that we have present perfect continuous in what it says, I've been thinking of getting one too. So in this case, is that person started thinking in the past and now is continue thinking on that. She's maybe not decide on what it says. Okay. So maybe she's continue thinking. And also, we've been having break travel. So until now, she's still continue this break travel. So maybe that's why she's continue thinking on getting a new car in this case. Perfect. So do not forget this social language in order to express frustration. Like, I had it. That settles it. Enough is enough. It's not enough is mostly common to use it in this kind of things in order to express different frustration do we have. So now let's continue with this topic. Here what we have is a video in which we are going to see how these work and how these apply different of these words. First, in this part, what it says, keep talking, in the book, it offers to us different phrases, different some compound phrases. Not forget that in English, some phrases are very common, like, how are you? It's going to state to any situation in which we want to talk about or know how the person is. So in this case, it's pretty common to use in that kind of things. So we don't change anything. It's not very dynamic. In some cases, we can change depending on the context. For example, some phrases or some sentences we can say to say more about what happened. Maybe we are talking about an accident, or maybe we are talking about any other things. And also, these phrases are going to help you in order to do that oral presentation. At the beginning, we were talking about it, speaking activity. So what it says, one, we can say the car went off the road, my car went off the road, her car went off the road. So in this case, we can simply change it according to the situation we have. It just stopped cold. It just stopped cold. I couldn't turn left. I couldn't turn right. It was making a weird sound. It was making a weird sound. It smelled. It smelled. It wouldn't start. It wouldn't turn. The ones that are in bracket as well, it can be changed. Maybe for make suggestion, because it's always is when we see in a conversation the emphatic phase in order the person in order to emphasize or maybe to help you to solve any problem is going to suggest you something, sugerirte algo, aconsejarte. So in this case we use should. You should get a minivan. You should get a new even. You should get any other thing. Why don't you get a used car? Because maybe the person is telling to you, I would like a new car, to buy a new car, but actually I don't have enough money. So maybe you can suggest, why don't you get a used car? Or maybe why do you get any other thing that you can say? Maybe also you can suggest some different types of cats, maybe some other solutions and other ones. Okay. So now then give me a second. I will share in this case, the screen, because it's not going to let me to present the video. Now, yes. Okay. Now, listen carefully and also see how it is expressed. Not only what is grammar, not only what is words, not only vocabulary, or to be focused on listening, but also in what is paralinguistics. What is paralinguistics? It is study how do we express, how it is our expressions, how maybe hands movement, head movements, and other things. So also pay attention how it is expressed, all of this, what we already seen. So now, let's see.
Let's roleplay the conversation. Keep talking. Say more about what happened. Make suggestions. Say as much as you can.
I was driving home from our class last night, and my car went off the road.
No way. What was wrong?
This time, the steering was making a weird sound, and then I couldn't turn left or right. Enough is enough. It's time for a new car.
Maybe you should get a used car with low mileage this time.
Actually, I don't think I want a used car again. I've had it.
You know, I've been thinking of getting a new car too. I've been having a lot of engine trouble. Sometimes it just stops cold and then it won't turn on again.
That's too bad. So what kind are you going to get?
An SUV, I think. New, if we can find an affordable one.
Alright, so as you could see in this case, all of these kind of phrases help us to describe any kind of situation, and also talking about most related to what is driving around. Okay, so now let's continue with the topic. Also, these videos you can find, I think, in Classroom you have a drive in order to review some of them. So now let's go in this case. So continue with some kind of stuff of driving around. So in this case, we have vocabulary about accidents. No dangerous now. No, we are not talking about some elemental parts of the cats. We are not talking about, in this case, some type of cats. But now we are going to talk about traffic accidents. So now, what it says in this case? Here we have traffic accidents in which it can be for different reasons. And how do we call this? So let's see. For number one, we have, as you could relate with the picture, they had a collision. Okay, they had a collision, as you could see. Collision. Second one, they had a heads-on collision. Front by front. The van hit a tree. The side spewed a parked car. The ones that were in this case in movement. He is sidesweep a parked car. She rear-ended the other car. And there was a pillip. Alright? So now let's listen in this case how it is pronounced, each of these, and then some of you are going to repeat. Take into account in this case some indicators that help you to remember in context. For example, collision, in this case, collision, in which two cars collide because they were in different routes. They had a head-on, that means, of course, the car doesn't have head, but is referring mostly front by front. The van hit, sideswept, side. What does it mean, the side? The rear-ended, so it will be the behind part of the car, and there was a pillip. So now, let's listen carefully how it is pronounced and also try to practice meanwhile.
1. They had a collision. 2.
They had a head-on collision.
3. The van hit a tree. 4.
He sideswiped a parked car.
5. She rear-ended the other car. 6.
There was a pileup.
Now listen again and repeat.
They had a collision.
They had a head-on collision.
The van hit a tree.
He sideswiped a parked car.
She rear-ended the other car.
There was a pileup.
Alright, so now please, in this case, I would like mostly volunteers in order to repeat all of this. The ones that are involved. Only the words that are in bold, los que están en negrilla. Had a collision, had a heads-on collision, hit, side-swept, rear-ended, and was appelled. So in this case, do I have any volunteer who would like to read the ones that are in bold? Okay, Carla, please, you can start.
They had a collision. They had a head-on collision. The van hit a tree. He sideswiped a parked car. She rear-ended the other car, and there was a pileup.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Carla. Betsabe.
Had a collision, had a head-on collision, hit, sidewiped, rear-ended, and was a pile-up.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Betsabe. Liz.
Okay, teacher. They had a collision. They had a head-on collision. The van hit a tree. He switched with a parked car. She rear-ended the other car. There was a piled up.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Liz. Angeles.
They had a collision. They had a head-on collision. The van hit a tree. His sideswiped a parked car. She ran in the other car. There was a pileup.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Cristel.
They had a collision. They had a head-on collision. The van hit a tree. He sideswiped a parked car. She rear-ended the other car. There was a pileup.
Excellent. Estrella.
They had a collision. They had a collision. The van hit tree. The side street of our cars. She read in the other car. There was
Excellent. Thank you so much, Estrella. Daniel.
They have a collision. They had a head-on collision. The van hit a tree. He sideswiped the parked car. She rear-ended the other car. There was a pileup.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And the last one, Abraham.
They had a collision. They had a head-on collision. The van hit a tree. He sideswiped a parked car. She rear-ended the other car. There was a pileup.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So, this is vocabulary talking about traffic accidents. And it has to be because when there is accident, we need some grammar structures to express the accident as well. So now, here we have continue with the vocabulary. Let's practice a little bit. It says, listen to the conversations about traffic accidents. Complete statements about each accident with the vocabulary. So in this case, we have 6 situations in which it says, let's read first. Every time you are going to have any listening quiz, listening activity, or anything that involves with listening, and to answer any question, what you have to do first is to read whole statement. Someone, I stop sign. And so in this case, I need the vocabulary that in this case they are going to talk about. Someone, another card. So someone with another can the same, so we have to think well. Someone had a what? There was a involving 20 cars. A truck had a with a car. Some of them already it's easy to find the answer because of the context. But let's listen first the conversation. First, you are going to write your possible answers. Primero van a escribir lo que son sus respuestas que crean que son correctas. And the second one, you are going to confirm if it is or if not the correct one, okay? So now, listen please carefully the conversation and take notes in your books.
Conversation 1. Marie, you look awful.
I feel awful. I was in an accident.
Oh no. What happened?
The taxi driver was talking on a cell phone and we hit a stop sign.
Conversation 2.
My uncle had an accident.
Your uncle in Italy?
Yeah, Uncle Alfonso.
What happened?
Well, he was speeding and his brakes weren't great and he rear-ended another car.
That's terrible. Was anyone hurt?
No, he can thank his lucky stars for that.
Conversation 3. Look, remember that red car?
The one that was weaving through traffic a few seconds ago?
Yes. Look, he sideswiped that other car.
Right.
And that's not just any car. It's a police car.
Well, that's what he gets for driving like that.
Conversation 4.
Did you hear about that accident on 3rd Avenue?
No, what happened?
So a car stopped for a red light, and the car behind it was tailgating.
Oh no, I know. And the guy in the second car rear-ended the driver who stopped.
It did, and the driver of the first car was hurt, and so was her friend. But that's not all.
The driver who hit them just drove off.
Right, but listen. Just after he drove off, the guy had a head-on collision with a parked car. The car was parked on the wrong side of the street. Luckily, no one was hurt. He was going pretty slowly, and the driver of the parked car was getting coffee. Thank goodness, right?
Conversation 5.
I just saw on the local news that there was a huge pileup on Highway 6.
Really? How huge?
They say more than 20 cars.
Wow. Do they know what caused it?
They say this driver was texting, and a bunch of cars behind her were tailgating. She didn't notice that a car in front of her slowed down, and she rear-ended it. Then none of the tailgating cars could stop in time, especially on the wet road. It was a big mess.
Conversation 6.
You're not going to believe what I saw today.
What?
This food truck driver was passing in a no-passing zone, and he didn't notice that the car in front was making a left turn. They had a collision right near the corner.
Well, it's his fault.
But it turns out that the car he hit didn't signal, so it's partially the second driver's fault, too.
I don't know. Sounds like two bad drivers if you ask me.
And you know what happened? The food truck sells all kinds of soup, so there was soup all over the road.
Crazy.
Okay, so in this case, you are going to listen again and please try to confirm your answers in this case. Some of them maybe you have, but please check it if it is correct or not. So now, let's pay attention.
Conversation 1.
Marie, you look awful.
I feel awful. I was in an accident.
Oh no. What happened?
The taxi driver was talking on a cell phone and we hit a stop sign.
Conversation 2.
My uncle had an accident.
Your uncle in Italy?
Yeah, Uncle Alfonso.
What happened?
Well, he was speeding and his brakes weren't great and he rear-ended another car.
That's terrible. Was anyone hurt?
No, he can thank his lucky stars for that.
Conversation 3. Look, remember that red car?
The one that was weaving through traffic a few seconds ago?
Yes. Look, he sideswiped that other car.
Right.
And that's not just any car. It's a police car.
Well, that's what he gets for driving like that.
Conversation 4.
Did you hear about that accident on 3rd Avenue?
No, what happened?
So a car stopped for a red light, and the car behind it was tailgating.
Oh no, I know. And the guy in the second car rear-ended the driver who stopped.
It did, and the driver of the first car was hurt, and so was her friend. But that's not all.
The driver who hit them just drove off.
Right, but listen. Just after he drove off, the guy had a head-on collision with a parked car. The car was parked on the wrong side of the street. Luckily, no one was hurt. He was going pretty slowly, and the driver of the parked car was getting coffee. Thank goodness, right?
Conversation 5.
I just saw on the local news that there was a huge pileup on Highway 6.
Really? How huge?
They say more than 20 cars.
Wow. Do they know what caused it?
They say this driver was texting, and a bunch of cars behind her were tailgating. She didn't notice that a car in front of her slowed down, and she rear-ended it. Then none of the tailgating cars could stop in time, especially on the wet road. It was a big mess.
Conversation 6.
You're not going to believe what I saw today.
What?
This food truck driver was passing in a no-passing zone, and he didn't notice that the car in front was making a left turn. They had a collision right near the corner.
Well, it's his fault.
But it turns out that the car he hit didn't signal, so it's partially the second driver's fault, too.
I don't know. Sounds like two bad drivers if you ask me.
And you know what happened? The food truck sells all kinds of soup, so there was soup all over the road.
Crazy.
Right, so now let's see in this case, which are your answers for the 6 statements. For number 1 in this case, it says someone, a stop sign. So which part of the vocabulary will be adequate for this? Liz?
Number 1, someone hit a stop sign.
Excellent. Hit a stop sign. Excellent. Carla, what about number 2?
Someone rear-ended another car.
Excellent. Rear-ended another car. Thank you so much. What about number 3? Any volunteer? It says someone, another car. Nobody? Cristel, please.
Number 3, someone sideswipe another car.
Excellent. Sideswiped another car. What about number 4? Someone had a what? Any other volunteer? Okay, Cristel again, please.
Someone had a head-on collision.
Excellent. Head-on collision. What about number 5? There was a involving 20 cars. So in this case, please, Laura.
Number 5, there was a pileup involving 20 cars.
Excellent. A pileup. And number 6, a truck had a with a car. So in this case, Betsabe, please. Betsabe, your microphone.
Yes, had a collision.
Excellent. A collision. Perfect. Thank you so much for your participation. So in order you maybe can, as in this case, can check your answers. Number 1, hit. Number 2, rear-ended. Number 3, sideswept. Number 4, heads-on collision. Number 5, peel up. And number 6, collision. All right? Excellent. So now let's continue with the topic. Now we have enough vocabulary talking about driving around, driving, in this case, dangerous things and other things we already seen. I think we have seen types, parts, dangerous, and some accidents. So in this case, 4 sets of different vocabulary related to what is driving around. So now let's go to in our business. Here is the past continuous now. Please do not confuse with the present perfect continuous. Next class, because in this book, in Unit 7, these are the only 2 grammar things that we are going to see. So we are going to try to practice with you mostly of these. But I always suggest to you to do it with your workbook as well. So now, it says here, past continuous. The past continuous. We remember, and as mentioned before, Liz in this case, explain to us what is the present continuous. So the present continuous and the past continuous, I can do the related, yes, because we use in this case what is ing. Usamos el gerundio, ¿no? Usamos el ing que nosotros es más característico del inglés. Pero, ¿para qué podemos usar nosotros el past continuous? ¿Por qué es importante y cómo podemos usarlo? Past continuous recae en que el verbo que tiene que ser conjugado en pasado tiene que ser el verbo to be. Por ejemplo, si yo tengo la oración I am driving, eso es present continuous. Pero si yo quiero convertirlo en past continuous, I was driving, ¿no? Creo que no creo, es uno de los temas que se avanza en Basic or Foundation. Basic, I think. En Basic empiezan a ver lo que es el past. So in this case, we have what is was and were. With was, we use the subject pronouns in this case. I was, she was, he was, it was. For all of these subject pronouns, we use was. For where, we use for. You were, we were, they were. Okay? So that's the only thing we have to remember. What it says about the past continuous. The past continuous describe an activity that continued during a period of time in the past or at a specific time in the past. ¿Qué nos dice? Que el pasado continuo en este caso nos va a ayudar a describir actividades que eran presente continuo, supóngase, durante un periodo de tiempo o lo que conocemos durante un lapso. Y en ese pasado nosotros, eso ha sido expresado en un tiempo específico. For past continuous, do not forget with was and were and present participle. Present participle, that are the was were. So in this case, look at this. The brakes were making a weird sound before the collision. The brakes were making a weird sound before the collision. ¿Qué significa en este caso? Haremos nuestro dibujito. Creo que tengo que pisar. Denme un ratito. Sí. Ya. Cuando hablamos en este caso del past continuous, hace referencia nuevamente a lo que es nuestra línea de tiempo. No olvidemos que nosotros, y esto en cualquier idioma, van a verlo. Claro, cada uno tiene sus diferentes aspectos dependiendo tanto ámbito cultural, histórico, etcétera, ¿no? Este es el presente, donde nos encontramos ahora. Ahora, ¿qué nos dice el past continuous? Que era una acción, sí, una acción que empezó aquí y era una acción continua en el pasado, ¿no? Previamente a lo que hemos visto. Esta acción continua, pues, se llegó a dar en este tiempo determinado. Ojo, puede significar que sí haya terminado, pero lo que queremos expresar con el past continuous es esta acción determinada aquí. Esa acción que tuvo su comienzo y tuvo su final aquí y era continua en su momento. Para que yo más adelante, en el presente, pueda expresarme de esa manera. En el presente, que es aquí, puedo expresarme y recordar, solamente recordar, ¿cómo podemos hacerlo? Recordar. O mencionar una acción previa a la acción que ahora tú estás viviendo, ¿no? Una acción previa a la acción que ahora estamos viviendo. Eso es lo que nos quiere denotar. Y su importancia recabe en ello. Ahora, cuando esa acción en este caso, ojo, en aquí sí, no estamos hablando mucho de que finaliza, simplemente mencionar una acción que era continua en el pasado. Ese es su objetivo del del past continuous, ¿ya? Así que mucho cuidado con ello. Además, bien se mantiene el gráfico. Por ejemplo, en aquí, ¿qué nos dice? Tomaremos este. The brakes were making a weird sound, así que significa que en este caso, the brakes were making a weird sound during this period of time. Before the collision. Before the collision. That means in this case, the collision happened and the brakes were making a weird sound. Okay. Was she talking on the phone while she was driving? Suppose here is the action that she was talking in the phone and other action, continue action, while she was driving. Two actions that will be done in the past and they will continue. Because the action started here, she started driving, so she were talking in the phone. Meanwhile, she was driving in that time lapse. Okay. And also, we don't only use, in this case, for activities, for actions. No solamente usamos para actividades, para acciones, but also we can use, in this case, to describe a complete action. But in this case is how we can use for completed action. We use when for a completed action that occurred during a continued one. For example, it was raining hard when she sideswiped the other car. It was raining hard when she sideswiped the other car. This is to complete the action. It was raining and something happened. What happened? Sideswiped. Y miren aquí, simple past usábamos para acciones que han sido completadas, finalizadas en el pasado, ¿no ve? Así que miren, esto, solo esa conjugación verbal hizo que la acción haya culminado. Claro, no es que it was raining hard when she sideswiped the other car. No que la acción que esté lloviendo, sino en este caso, la acción que it was raining hard when she sideswiped the other car. De la conclusión de la oración. So now, in this case, you have to be careful when you're going to use. This is only the past continuous. Past continuous. Podemos hablar de algo que haya finalizado, sí, pero hablamos más que todo de una acción continua en el pasado que sí ya finalizó, ¿no? Porque es el past como tal. Y continue porque queremos hacer referencia a esa continuidad accional, nada más. ¿Y para qué necesitamos hacer referencia a esa continuidad accional? Fácil, porque más adelante se necesita efectos contextuales. ¿Y cuáles son? Por ejemplo, I was driving to work and my car just died. Miren, esta acción era continua. La persona, imagínense que estaba ahí estaba conduciendo para llegar a su trabajo. Y, ¡zas! Que su auto se paró, murió. Ya no da la batería, o no tenía suficiente energía, ¿no? Así que a eso hace referencia el past continuo. Cosas que tienen que tener en cuenta. Composición. Por favor, para el present perfect. Algunos la composición no se han acordado. ¿Qué pasó? Por ejemplo, en aquí. ¿Cuál es la composición? Always subject. Subject, whichever subject it is. It can be a person, it can be a thing, a pronoun if it is needed. Then, simple past of the verb to be. That will be, in this case, my auxiliary verb. And then, my verb in ing. What is the gerund? And then the complement. This is for affirmative statement. Affirmative statement. Negative statement with past continuous is not mostly used. Is not mostly used. Para el pasado continuo no se usa mucho lo que es el negativo. No es muy frecuente. Se puede usar, pero no es muy frecuente. ¿Por qué no es muy frecuente? Porque se supone que el pasado continuo nos ayuda a referirnos a una acción que sí ha pasado y era continua en el pasado. Pero si yo digo en negativo, significa que no ha pasado esa acción, así que, ¿por qué estoy mencionando esa acción si no ha pasado? ¿no? Así que no es muy usado, pero otras personas sí lo usan para aseverar o sustentar respuestas, ¿no? En cuanto a la negatividad. Second one, questions. ¿Cómo va a ir con preguntas? En este caso, dependiendo. Si tenemos double each question, pues el double each question se va a ir previo o antes de lo que se va a mantener. For example, in this case, no olvidemos que la mayoría de las preguntas que empiecen con el verbo auxiliar, el principal, significa que va a ser una pregunta de confirmación. Es decir, que necesitamos short answers. Yes, she was. No, she wasn't. Yes, he was. No, he wasn't. Yes, they were. No, they weren't. Y etcétera. Todos los que conocen ustedes del verbo was and were en simple past. Esas respuestas directas igual entren aquí. For example, was she talking on the phone while she was driving? Yes, she was. No, she was. Miren, verbo auxiliar was, subject pronoun or subject, puede ser aquí she, he, they, we, it, como también puede ser cualquier nombre propio, cualquier nombre de cosa, cualquier lugar, etc. Main verb, este es el verbo principal en gerundio, was she talking? Importante, tenemos que saber diferenciar cuál es el verbo auxiliar y cuál es el main verb, el verbo principal. ¿Por qué? El verbo auxiliar es aquel que solo nos va a ayudar a expresar el tiempo o a expresar, en este caso, cierta estructura gramatical. El verbo principal es aquel que nos va a ayudar a darle significado a todo. Pero el verbo auxiliar no está en tiempo. Claro, no está en tiempo. ¿Quién está ayudando en darnos el tiempo? El auxiliar. Pero el principal nos da el significado importante, el principal. Eso tienen que saber diferenciar. ¿Por qué? Cuidado que pongan, no sé, talking, she was, no. Was she talking on the phone while she? Ah, ya, pero en aquí ya no es pregunta. Están tratando de aseverar algo, pero necesitamos la respuesta de confirmación. While she, verbo auxiliar, was driving, main verb in gerund. Ahora, ¿cómo sería con double each question? No olvidemos que cuando vemos una pregunta con double each question, significa que va a ser una pregunta de desarrollo o informativa. Estas preguntas no se pueden responder en su mayoría con yes, she was, no, she wasn't, yes, I was, no, no, I wasn't, in this case. So, in this case, double each question, necesitamos información para desarrollar. Who were you walking with this morning when I saw you? So in this case, we need a name. Sabemos que double each question who es para personas. Who was driving the blue minivan? Para personas, ¿no? Pueden ser de estas dos cosas. Uno, que conozcamos a la persona y le estemos preguntando el acompañamiento. Who were you? No, pero te estoy preguntando a ti con quién estabas caminando esta mañana cuando te vi, ¿no? Cuando estamos dirigiéndonos a la persona. Pero si desconocemos en este caso a la persona, no es necesario el subject. Who was driving the blue minivan? No estoy aseverando, tú estabas manejando, ella estaba manejando. No sé, desconozco. Así que en aquí está double question, auxiliar verb, main verb in ing. Esto tiene que ver con el contexto. Si conocemos a la persona y es una pregunta directa a la persona y la persona es la que nos pueda dar la información, you, he, she, pero mostly you. Si desconocemos y queremos saber en este caso quién era la persona, entonces no va a ir dirigida a nadie. Claro, preguntamos a quien sea, pero no le decimos, oye, tú sabes quién, ¿no? Si nos dicen aquí, si alguien sabe quién estaba manejando el minivan azul. All right? Respeten en este caso ese orden específica. So now remember, please, the simple past tense, we're talking about the simple past, it says that describes a completed action that were completed in the past, as mentioned before. So for these cases, we use when for a completed action that occurs during a continuous one. It can be admitted, as in here, for example. The brakes were making a weird sound before the collision. Was she talking on the phone while she was driving? So look at this. Who were you walking with this morning when I saw you? Simple past. For example, it was raining hard when she sideswiped the other car. So in this case, this is the past continuous. It can be mixed with other clauses in this case, like simple past tense. And yes, it can. But it will depend on the message you would like to give or provide. So now let's see how it goes. Because in this case, identifying or maybe writing some of the sentences can be easier. But recognizing in this case to differentiate past continuous, present continuous, to differentiate present perfect with present perfect continuous is a real task because you not only have the auxiliary verb or the main verb, you have a whole context. You have words to analyze, phrases to analyze, a message to analyze how will be in real situation. And not only to say, it's word making because here it says it's practice or past continuous, so everything will be in that case. Not really. Because as you see in the first test, it's not actually that you have to identify, you have to have the ability to identify each of these compositions, okay? Anyways, I will do it for a summary for you later on in order to have your own. Oh, here is a red one. Here's pronunciation. Now, let's practice a little bit, but later on. Okay, now yes. Here we have notice grammar, in which it says, find 4 examples of the past continuous in this conversation that we already seen previously. So in this case, please, for you, where is the first? Let's see in this first block. Alex Nicole, yes. Where can you see in this case the past continuous in this conversation? Where can you see the past continuous? You can read the whole sentence as it is. Yes, it is admitted. Look, where do you find the past continuous? And also in your book, you have to underline it or mark, or in this case, highlight it. Let's see it. Hey, honey, how was your day? Don't ask. Why? What happened? You want the good news or the bad news? Actually, I will start with the worst. I had an accident on the way to work. Well, until here we don't have past continuous. Nothing serious, just a fender bender. The good news is that I'm okay and no one was hurt. Thanks goodness for that. So what happened? The first thing that happened was I had flat tire, but no big deal. I changed the tire 1 to 3, just like they taught me in driving school. Not here, because driving school in this case this is an adjective that is referring to a school, so it isn't. So I drove off, and then 10 minutes later the car died. It just stopped cold. No way, I know, right? So I called roadside assistance to get a tow truck. And while I was waiting for the truck, so in this case, here we have. While I was waiting for the truck, I went to get a cup of tea. And when I came back, a cop was writing me a ticket. I came back, a cop was writing me a ticket. It seems I was in a no parking zone. This is not parking zone because parking is an adjective that is qualifying the word of zone, so it isn't. So what about the accident? All right, so the tow truck towed me to the service station and they put in a new battery when I was pulling out the station. So here again, we have I was pulling out of the station, a car cut me off. I was trying to avoid him, and I hit a stop sign. There isn't much damage, but still. So now let's analyze in this case. Look at this. Many things that tell me in this case past continue is that they are referring an action, and then we can also mix with the simple past. So look at this, the first sentence. So I called the roadside assistance to get a tow truck. And while I was waiting for the tow truck, that refers that the person was waiting in a time lapse of time. I went to get a cup of tea. ¿No? Nos decía, mientras ella estaba esperando, en este caso, ella fue o fue por una taza de té, o taza de café, perdón. So in this case, we have the simple past that is help us to referring to the time continue in this case, okay? Number 2, and when I came back, a cop was writing me a ticket. Came back, simple past, a cop was writing me a ticket. Significa que cuando ha llegado, ha visto ahí, ¿no? Que en ese caso el policía estaba escribiendo un ticket. Era una acción continua en el pasado, ¿no? When I was pulling out the station, a car cut me off. Cut me off, simple past. Mientras ella, en este caso, estaba yéndose de la estación, un auto se le atravesó. A car cut me off. I was trying to avoid him. Ella intentaba, en este caso, no tratar de chocarse con él, ¿no? And I hit a stop sign. Trató de no chocar, pero golpeó una señalifica de stop. A hit, simple past. So look at this here, how it is working, what is the past continuous. Y como pueden ver, bueno, no en la mayoría, en todas estas oraciones, vemos que está aledaño o cercano a una expresión en simple past, como nos han referido anteriormente. ¿Ok? So, take that into account. Tomen esos apuntes. ¿Ok? So now, let's continue with this topic. Next class, we are going to exploit more of this. So now, this is the grammar practice in which it says, choose the past continuous or simple past tense to complete each sentence. Take into account here, we are talking about 2 grammar structures you already know. Simple past tense is when the action has finished in the past. It is completed. Past continuous referring to a time-lapse actions that happened in the past. So, for number 1, it says, Mark, when the car in front of him suddenly, and causa pileup. So in this case, which one do you consider it is? Mark, what? Tailgating or tailgated? Was tailgating or tailgated? Carla, please.
Mark was tailgating when the car in front of him suddenly turned and caused a pileup.
Excellent. Mark was tailgating when the car in front of him suddenly turned and caused a pileup. Thank you so much, Carla. What about you, Cristel? For number 2, they were a car that
hit.
Excellent. They were a car that hit a tree. Hit a tree. The action finished there. What about number 3 in this case? A police officer in this case. Which one? Was stopped Ellie and what? Was given or gave her ticket. So in this case, any volunteer or victim? I will choose someone else. What about you in this case? Cristel, please.
A police officer stopped Ellie and gave her a ticket.
Excellent. A police officer stopped Ellie and gave her a ticket. How do we know that we are sharing, in this case, the same grammar structure in a sentence? And incluso podemos dudar, digamos, ¿no? Que en aquí puede ser continuo, pasado continuo, ¿no? Pero el an ya no se les relaciona a ambos. Si el an tiene una comita antes, significa que la estructura gramatical siguiente va a cambiar. Ya no va a ser esa. Aquí es simple present, entonces en aquí puede ser present perfect. Eso nos permite esa comita. Pero en aquí no es la comita porque es relativo. Simple past, simple past. Right? Number 4 in this case. He, what? Was texting or text me 2 minutes ago that he was on his way home. So in this case, for number 1, which option is the adequate? Was texting or text? In this case, please. Daniel?
He was texting.
Excellent. In this case, he texted me 2 minutes ago. Text. Okay. Number 2, in this case. Please. Estrella. I, my car when someone side sweeper or was side sweeping. Estrella?
Yeah.
Okay, I think it's signal.
I was parking the car when someone.
Okay. I was parking my car when someone swept me. Side swept me. Right? I was parking and someone side swept. What about number 6 in this case? The collision. Well, the driver, which one? Wasn't paying or didn't pay attention. And she, which one? Was rear-ending or rear-ended a garbage truck. Then she just was driving or drove. Betsabe?
The collision where the driver wasn't paying attention and she wasn't paying attention and she rear-ended a garbage truck. Then she just drove off.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Betsabe. So in this case, the collision, well, the driver wasn't paying attention. And look at this. Aquí antes tenemos una coma, lo que nos advierte que la siguiente cláusula no va a continuar con esta misma composición. And she rear-ended a garbage truck. Then she just drove off, right? So in order you can complete, I will say number 1 was tailing and turned. Number 2, hit. Number 3, stopped and gave. Number 4, in this case, text. Number 5 was parking and side swept. Number 6 wasn't paying, rear-ended, and drop. All right? Perfect. So now, in these cases, you're going to be careful, especially what is past. Simple past, past perfect, and the other ones, all right? So I think for next class, we are going to continue talking about more of what is the past continuous and the present perfect continuous. Mostly of these are used to differentiate which action or how the action are going to, in this case, lay, depending on which meaning we would like to say. As mentioned before, this is mostly for contextual things. In order you maybe are going to write some essays, you are going to do some research or any academic or formal purposes you have with your professions, it is mostly useful to learn how to use the grammatical structures. But when it's the speaking, it's not too much delegated to use each of them. Of course, there are some things that cannot be admitted. For example, to use present perfect to mention something that was ended or was completed. So that's something that we cannot use because even though in Spanish or in English, the structure refers to something that is different and it doesn't contain with the meaning we would like to give. So please be careful with that. With past things or issues, we have many. We didn't see what is the past perfect continuous yet. We didn't see past perfect. We didn't see the future continuous in this case. Another thing that has its own purposes. Okay. So I think for next class, I will give you my timelines about simple past, past perfect, present, no, present perfect, yeah, past perfect, not yet. Present perfect continuous, and the past continuous in order you can see which is the difference, and also I can help to you for your final test, because in final test, we are going to, well, it will be covered to all the units 1 to 10. So please be careful with that, okay? So now give me a second. I will call the list. I cannot see the hour. My cell phone is dying. It's dying. It's going to stop cold. Ok. ¿Qué más? Esto en español. En el Classroom ya les he subido lo que son sus exámenes. Me faltan aquí de algunas excepciones. Ya las voy a subir este fin de semana. Ya lo tengo. ¿Ya? Por favor, pueden revisarlo bien. No se olviden, denme un ratito para que les explique. Ya. Voy a presentar por si acaso la lista. No voy a presentar sus notas, no se preocupen. Igual está en el drive. En este caso, ¿cómo ha sido evaluado? Nosotros tenemos, a ver si me dan un ratito para que les muestre. Denme un ratito, ¿ya? Un segundito. Esto lo voy a ocultar, pero es más que todo para que vean ustedes cómo se está manejando. Ya, ahora sí. En el caso del second test, o bueno, y el primer examen, ¿cómo es que se ha evaluado? Primero, el listening, por el total de preguntas que tienen, se ha evaluado sobre 20. ¿Cómo se ha realizado en este caso la evaluación o la fórmula, no? Primero, por ejemplo, ustedes tenían de listening lo que son, si más no me equivoco, 10 preguntas. Así que esas 10 preguntas, la cantidad que se han sacado se ha multiplicado por el sobre, ¿no? Supónganse que, no sé, tenemos en este caso, por ejemplo, son 20 preguntas y en aquí son 15 preguntas que se han respondido bien de las 20, ¿no? Entonces, lo que se ha hecho es que la cantidad de preguntas respondidas se ha multiplicado por el total de la nota, ¿no? Por ejemplo, 15 por 20. Y se ha llegado a dividir, en este caso, por la cantidad total que tenemos, ¿no? En aquí, por ejemplo, el listening, todas las preguntas, he hecho la regla de 3 para ser evaluada sobre 20. Vocabulary, lo propio, grammar, lo propio, reading, lo propio, writing, lo propio. ¿Qué se ha hecho en speaking? En speaking, ustedes tienen dos partes. Una parte que es en el examen escrito, donde ustedes han visto conversaciones y tenían, en este caso, que escoger las palabras o frases adecuadas en la conversación. Todo eso se ha evaluado sobre 20 en el speaking. ¿Qué pasó con los 80 restantes? Los 80 restantes, porque el speaking es 100 puntos, se ha ido sumando acorde a los videos que han hecho. Los videos que me han enviado, ese es sobre 80 puntos, y esos 80 se han ido sumando dentro de lo que es dentro de lo que es el speaking, ¿no? Por ejemplo, en el listening ya, supónganse que Abraham, te vamos a usar. En el listening ya, Abraham se ha sacado 20, en el vocabulario se ha sacado 16, en el grammar se ha sacado 18, en el reading se ha sacado 19 y en el writing en este caso hay que seguir tal y como te dice, ¿no? Hecho valer en aquí oraciones sueltas, sí, pero no traten de hacerlo en ello. La próxima ya. Traten de hacerlo en un párrafo las oraciones juntas para ustedes, ¿ya? Así que solo seguir las indicaciones. En aquí ya, en writing se ha sacado 20. En speaking, en el writing, supónganse que sobre speaking de speaking eran 15 preguntas, todas esas 15 es valoradas sobre 20. Así que supónganse que se sacó en aquí Abraham 16, perfecto. Pero me entregó su video y lo ha hecho bien. Me entregó un video bueno, satisfactorio, entonces se ha sumado 80 más 16, lo que sería en este caso 96. Y el total de la nota sobre 20 se ha promediado. Por eso está con decimales. Ya más adelante se va a redondear, así que eso, no se preocupen si alguien dice, no, ¿por qué está con decimal? No se preocupen, ¿ya? Así que de esa manera se irá evaluando. Si alguien tuviera alguna duda, alguna observación, algo que se me haya escapado, cualquier cosa, ustedes me lo dicen. No se queden callados, no digan, ay, no, ya lo debe estar mal. No, pero si tienen el acto de la duda, ¿no? O dicen, no, esto no está bien, yo siento que he hecho correcto, pero no sé por qué está mal, háganmelo saber hasta mañana, ¿ya? Hasta mañana. De los que me faltan, hoy día lo voy a subir, ya tengo sus notas también, ¿ya? Así que por favor, háganmelo saber hasta mañana, hasta las 9 de la noche. Ya para así dar esto, caso cerrado. Ya, caso cerrado, por el momento. ¿Y qué más quería decirles? Deme un ratito. Ah, ya. En el caso de la administración del portafolio, hubo unos cambios. Teníamos reunión el anterior domingo. En este caso, ¿qué domingo era? Eh, el domingo 20, ¿ya? Y me han informado algo del portafolio. En el caso del portafolio, le he puesto igual detallado en sus tareas, así que por favor véanlo eso. En el caso del Worksheet TV, eso se ha cambiado de posición, más que todo por su uso, y han hecho análisis también. Y yo les he preguntado si realmente va a ir ahí para no hacerles perjudicar, ¿no? Y me han dicho que sí hubo un cambio, que en este caso, esa parte del Worksheet TV va a ir a la parte de listening, ¿ya? A la parte de listening. Va a ir antes de todas las tareas que se han ido y se van a seguir dando de listening, ¿ya? Antes. Al principio va a ir eso. Y en el caso de lo que es el workbook, va a entrar su workbook de ustedes. Ahí atrás tiene que entrar, ¿ya? Eso es lo que recién nos han reiterado. Y bueno, más bien a tiempo, porque he dicho, cuidado que a última hora cualquier cambio haga. Así que, bueno, ello. Así que tomen en cuenta esas cositas, ¿ya? Especialmente ese orden que se está manejando. ¿Y qué más? En cuanto a sus portafolios, ya esta semana yo voy a tener sus feedbacks, así que ya van a tener ahí sus recomendaciones. En claro les voy a hacer llegar a cada uno de ustedes. ¿Qué más me estaría olvidando? Eso, todo eso sería por el momento, ¿ya? En cuanto a sus evaluaciones de los reviews, vayan haciéndolo, pero creo que de su nivel igual está con mis respuestas, que he sido parte de la comisión evaluadora, así que siguen con mis respuestas. Voy a pedir nuevamente que eliminen mis respuestas para que así no salga, porque yo quiero compartirles el link, pero salen mis respuestas. Y no, pues, o sea, no es nada práctico, nada funcional por el momento. ¿Ya? Así que tomen eso en cuenta, por favor. Cualquier duda que tenga, me hablan nomás. Yo estoy disponible para ayudarles. Y si necesitan más ejercicios, yo les voy a dar todo lo que ustedes quieran, ¿ya? Pero por favor, vayan repasando, estudien, no se acumulen todo su portafolio, vayan trabajando poco a poco, ¿ya? Para cada tarea no se olvide que tenemos más o menos como 2 semanas para que ustedes lo terminen. Así que eso tomen en cuenta, ¿ya? Ahora sí, Karen, are you here?
Sí, Miss, estoy aquí. Le escribí internamente. Justo tenía un pequeño percance, pero he estado conectada desde que he tenido luz, por favor, y
Ok,
eso.
no te preocupes, me dices nomás si tienes alguna duda.
Sí,
Carlos.
aprovechando, perdón, va a disculpar. El audio de esto del inciso A, de los chequecitos,
Ajá.
está aquí el enlace. Quería volver a escuchar tal vez más entre la semana. No sé si, o tal vez
Ah,
en la
ya.
clase grabada.
Ya. ¿Me esperas un ratito? ¿Me indicas más? Voy a sacar la fotito de la clase así para que los demás puedan irse y me indicas cuál es. Yo te puedo enviar grabación desde mi celular, tal vez. ¿Ya? Dame un ratito. Ahora sí, prendan sus camaritas un rato. Voy a sacar esa fotito, ¿ya? Yo voy a estar sin cámara. Mi celular se apaga y se prende cada rato. Ya. Ahora sí. Uno, dos, tres y... Ok. Igual estaba sonriendo. So much. Muchas gracias a todos ustedes por su participación y su asistencia. No se olviden que ya nos falta pocas semanitas para terminar el curso, así que vayan repasando poco a poco y si necesitan ayuda, me lo hacen saber, ¿ok? Tengan una bonita tarde. Chao,
Hasta
chao.
luego. Thank you,
Ahora
teacher.
sí. Bye, bye. Ahora sí, Karen, me indicas en este caso, te voy a mostrar en este libro y me indicas cuál audio quieres o cuál necesitas.
Ya, esta parte de la página 78 donde está el traffic accident, read and listen. They had a collision, they had a head-on collision, esa partecita,
Ya.
usted
Esto.
y la verdad yo no he entendido mucho. Creo que como no he estado la anterior, me he quedado así queriendo escuchar y le voy a decir dónde lo puedo escuchar o tal vez, no sé si sube los audios, eso quería preguntarle.
Sí, justo eso estaba viendo en la carpeta de su Classroom y no hay los audios como tal, no hay los audios, pero yo te voy a enviar a tu interno, ¿ya? Esto lo voy a grabar en mi de WhatsApp porque creo que se puede y te voy a pasar, ¿ya? De descargar el audio tampoco creo que puedo en este sistema, así que lo voy a grabar y te paso, ¿ok?
Algo más, le comento que estoy queriendo practicar más al escuchar, ¿cómo se llama? El listening, ¿no? Escuchar mm, y entender. Estaba queriendo comprarme alguna aplicación o ver alguna aplicación para leer libros y estar, ¿no? Todo el tiempo con esto. No sé si usted tiene algún dato de alguna aplicación que me pueda recomendar, ya no, ya sea gratuita o de paga, no sé si conoce alguna. Y así no me hago estafar con alguna de esas aplicaciones que ofrecen.
Ya. En aquí lo que te aconsejo es este, mira. Test Your English. Esta página es muy buena. Yo te aconsejo en aquí. Mira, en aquí tienes diferentes skills acorde a tu nivel y son de diferentes tópicos. Eso es bueno. Mira, por ejemplo, en aquí, este test es gratis, no tienes que pagar nada, nada. Si tú quieres, te puedes registrarte en la página, está bien, es dependiendo de ti. Pero mira, aquí tienes lo que es listening. Ahorita ustedes están entre un B1, A2, B1 y B más uno. En eso están ustedes. Así que tú te puedes decir, por ejemplo, ya quieres intermediate o tal vez es mucho, puedes probar. Entras a intermediate. Aquí tienes diferentes actividades de listening para que tú practiques. Entras a uno de ellos, cualquiera. Entras y en aquí pones play, ¿no? Y lo que te pide, por ejemplo, listen to four people, escucha a cuatro personas que comparten, en este caso, sus experiencias personales en cuanto a la escuela, ¿no? Y en este caso, vas a tener preguntitas evaluativas, uno, dos, hasta el siete, ¿no? Y en este caso, tú vas a poner play y escuchas el que tú crees, vas seleccionando y así. Ya cuando termines en aquí, por ejemplo, ¿no? De seleccionar, y lo bonito de esta página es que te da su sustento. No es que te corrige, sí, está correcto eso, no te va a dar su sustento, ¿no? Te dicen aquí, ya, ¿por qué no es esto? Porque en aquí te dice, Sam talks about, ta, 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 ta. ¿M? En aquí lo mismo y así sucesivamente, ¿ya? Así que, y aquí está la transcripción. Si tú quieres escuchar nuevamente, puedes seguir con el ritmo y esta vez escuchar, porque hay algunas palabras que son muy fluidas que no se entiende, pero cuando ya ves en el lado escrito dices, esto había sido, ¿no? Así que yo te aconsejo esta página, Test English, que es
Ya,
muy
ya,
buena para resolver. Ajá.
ya.
Ahora, si quieres otro, también te puedo dar, que es el British Council. El British Council también tiene en este caso actividades como tal. Y lo mismo, en aquí te vas a exámenes, tiene ELTs, diferentes exámenes, pero también Learn English Online. Y en aquí tiene sus recursos. Por el momento, creo que está en no sé cuál he entrado. Pero el British Council igual tiene. Solamente que en aquí ya no me acuerdo en qué parte era. pero tiene también sus exámenes. No sé dónde están para el speaking. Tienen sus listening, solamente que el British Council es más para, suponte para, aquí está, en aquí. British Council Learn English Teens. Y en aquí te vas, mira, tenemos diferentes skills. Aquí están skills, listening, entonces te vas. Y de listening aquí tienes por niveles. Te puedes ir en este caso, yo te aconsejo B1, B2, porque es tu nivel correspondiente. Pero si tú ya quieres practicar los niveles antes, igual puedes hacerlo, no hay problema. Te vas entonces B1 y vas viendo cuál te gusta. Primero siempre empieza con el tema que te guste. No sé, por ejemplo, a ver, quiero hablar acerca de difficult situations. Entonces, haces clic y en aquí tú tienes las instrucciones primero. Leer siempre instrucciones. ¿Qué tienes que hacer antes? Prepararte, ¿no? Ver. Entonces, aquí tienes lo que es la listening activity, ¿no? Que nos dice, aquí tenemos ejercicio previo. Eso es lo bonito del British Council, es que previamente ya te va a presentar palabras o vocabulario nuevo. Tú tienes que llenar esto con lo que tú creas y lo cheques. Pones el check, ¿no? Que es revisar todo. Y luego después de ello, escuchas el listening. Tienes aquí su transcript, que es de la conversación, que es lo que hablan ellos. Y en aquí tienes el understanding, ¿no? Que en aquí es que tú, acorde a lo que has escuchado, vayas llenando. Lo mismo en aquí. Verdadero o falso. Listening comprehension. Esa es otra dinámica que también te puede servir.
Lo que me cuesta es escuchar, digamos, dan así y me cuesta, ¿cómo se llama? Entender, pero si estoy, ya agarro, pongo el traductor y estoy viendo, me es más fácil. Digo, ¿por qué me pasa eso? Siempre he tenido ese problema, entonces dije, no, quiero ya cortar con eso y decir, bueno, pues he estado viendo películas con subtítulo también en inglés para ir, ¿no?
Ujú.
No sé si eso, pero esa consulta tenía. ¿Esta es de paga, Miss?
No, esto no es de paga, esto es gratis, todo es gratis. Lo que es de paga es cuando en estas dos páginas es cuando tú quieres un certificado. Ahí nomás es de paga, pero lo demás no, todo es gratis en aquí. Este link te pasaré por si acaso, porque su página es bien grande de esta, te ofrece todo tipo de exámenes. Ahí está.
Gracias.
Eso, luego después
Gracias.
hay una página especialmente solo para listening, que es en este caso, a ver, el TOEIC Listening. Pero estos, como te digo, ya son exámenes, son solamente exámenes, eso es lo malo. Esto es para que tú aprendas a escuchar. Es decir, mira, lo que yo te
Claro.
aconsejo es que tú escuches y sigas con la lectura. Sigas con la lectura. Escuchar y seguir con la lectura. Lo mismo en aquí. Pones play y te vas al transcript. Seguir con la lectura. Porque eso, reconocer información te va a ayudar bastante. Luego del TOEIC, si quieres, también puedes, ¿no? Pero en este caso es más relativo, es otra cosa dentro de lo que son exámenes. No te enseña a cómo, pero se supone que en el examen ya tienes que saber. Pero en aquí no, en aquí solo escuchas. Ahora, en la biblioteca que tienen de lo que es el Goldmaster, igual hay un librito que han subido de listening, así que eso también podrías ver.
¿A eso por dónde entro? Mira, nunca he podido entrar, no sé, o está en el Classroom.
Dame un ratito, es que te cuento que sí está en el, pero han cambiado han cambiado el código. Dame un ratito. Ahorita enseguida les voy a enviar en el grupo de Classroom, ¿ya? Enseguida dame un momentito para buscar dónde le han puesto el código. Igual estoy así, ¿dónde le han puesto el código? A ver, dame un ratito.
Ya.
Dame un segundito. ¿Dónde está ese grupo? Docentes. Creo que es aquí, espero que sí. Sí, aquí es. Ya. En este caso, tienen contraseña, ha cambiado su contraseña, pero ahora sí. Ya. El link enseguida lo voy a pasar, pero es así la página. Y en la página, el sitio web te pide contraseña y solo hay que pegar la contraseña. Con contraseña me les voy a enviar y continuar, ¿no? Y en este caso, les va a enviar a un sitio que está creado por Canva, si más no me equivoco. Es un sitio como un sitio web. Solo esperas a que cargue, porque como tiene varios libros, tarda un poquito en cargar. Y te vas al último. Aquí hay listening. Hay actividades también de listening, pueden estar haciendo también. Y en aquí al último, han puesto 2 libros nuevos de listening. Es igual,
Hola.
el domingo me comunicaron, ya tienen libro de listening, pueden estar practicando así. ¿Dónde está? Estos son para exámenes writing, no, ¿dónde está el listening? Hay 2 libros de listening, aquí está, Tactics for Listening. Lo que yo te aconsejo, si es que quieres empezar un poquito a entender, yo el A1, A2. ¿Por qué? Porque para ti va a ser más fácil y eso te va a motivar a seguir más. Luego pasarte a lo que es el B1, luego B2.
No se ve la pantalla.
¿No
Hola.
se ve? Uy,
Ahora sí, ya
dame un
me ve.
ratito.
Se queda congelado un rato en